Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Tanner's Favorite Things. Today we have an unboxing for you, and I'll just go ahead and tell you what it is. It's a speaker. This is a brand new speaker in a 10-inch variety. I have never purchased an aftermarket 10-inch speaker, but we are going to take a look at one today. Double box packaging, very impressive. All right, so what do we have here? This should be a Weber Alnico Blue Pup 10-inch speaker. Weber makes the 12-inch variant, the Blue Dog, which I've never heard, consequently, but I've done some research on 10-inch speakers, and I think this is the one that I want to experiment with. And you may be asking, why do you have a 10-inch speaker on here? Every single cabinet I've ever shown you accommodates a 12-inch speaker, so what gives here? Well, I've got a special amplifier that I've been saving specifically for this upgrade. Don't get too excited, it's not the fanciest amp in the world, but it's a smaller amp. It only takes a single 10-inch speaker, and the original speaker is what I would call okay. It's not terrible, it's not great. It's just middle of the road, probably a Chinese speaker. Not that that means that it's terrible or anything, but it is probably made in China, whereas the Weber, I believe, is made in the USA and has a higher reputation. It's also an Alnico style magnet, which is new to me as well. So let's take a look at the speaker's final destination and see how she sounds. Alright, so now that we know what we have in the box, let's take a look at where it's going to be utilized. Today, I'm busting out the Vox AD30VT edition. This is a 30-watt modeling amplifier by Vox, and this is actually one of my kind of dirty secret type of amps. And not that I'm ashamed of it by any means, but it's a very small, very compact, very solid-state powered amplifier. Well, not entirely. There is a 12AX7 tube powering the preamp of this amplifier, so there is a little bit of tube power in the mix, and otherwise we have Vox's pretty renowned solid state amplifiers doing the rest of the business, and there's a lot of modeling going on in here. So this is primarily a modeling practice amp is what I would call this, as far as where it belongs in the pantheon of guitar amplifiers. But it's got a ton of presets. Like I wish I could go through all of them, but there's actually too many on the amp. It's not like a digital panel here. If you notice, you'll see that we just have a dial with 11 presets, and I'm sure that 11 is not by mistake for all you Spinal Tap fans. But we have 11 preset amplifiers from Boutique UK, a Black 212, which is a Fender Blackface style, a US high gain, which I think they're going for more of a Mesa Boogie sound, and down the line. So from low gain to high gain, 11 styles. There's some presets. There's a manual tap, tempo tap, I believe is what that is. I'm not 100% sure. But otherwise we have two channels, channel 1, channel 2. We have a channel program, and this is where you write to the program, and this is where you select the channel. So on the dials, we have a pretty standard set of dials: gain, volume, treble, middle, bass. But then we get to effects and master. You'll notice we kind of have 3 volume chicken head knobs on here. We have gain, which is essentially volume. We have volume, which is 100% volume. And then we have master, which is synonymous with volume. So I'm not exactly sure why they went ahead and put all 3 options there on this modeling amp. The master volume is usually associated with a tube-driven amp, such as this Marshall amp, which did not come with a master volume dial. So one has been added, not by me, but one has been added so that there's a master volume on that amplifier now. Otherwise, we have effects that affect the sound of the guitar, such as chorus, flanger, reverb, auto wah, etc. So these are pretty classic 60s style effects, I would say. Vox really is known for their 60s era due to the dominance of the Beatles and other British and American acts that use the Vox amps. So we have a lot of those kind of effects that you would expect in a 60s era amp right here. Next, we have a tap, which I'm not 100% sure what it does, an edit, which is, again, something I've never messed with, and then a bypass, which is something I've never pressed. So otherwise I use this as a regular practice amp. I use different sounds on it to emulate different amplifiers, which is cool. And it is significantly loud where I don't feel like I have to turn on the Marshall or the 5150 every single time. And you'll notice I do have earplugs in, so if I'm speaking a little loudly, I apologize. But I do think that it's really important to protect your hearing and any of your senses for that matter, but especially hearing in this case, since this is so close to my ears, I'm just going to use protection. So in front of our amplifier, we have an Audio-Technica AT3033 microphone. This is a condenser style microphone, and it is, now that I'm looking at it, I think it needs to come up just a hair, maybe there. This is a condenser style microphone, and I was just playing through it, and it sounds really nice. So hopefully we can capture what this amplifier sounds like with this Audio-Technica microphone, which is being plugged directly into my Scarlett 18i20 interface, and that's that. So let's go ahead and hear a few samples of what this thing sounds like. try this at home. So I'm pretty sure the whole amp comes off with this back panel, but let's see here. Maybe I should release these ones too. There we go. Alright, so you can see that this is a pretty cheapo AD30VT is what it says, speaker on here. So I guess it's not terribly cheap looking. The magnet is bigger than a lot of the 12-inch SLM style speakers, if you've ever seen those. Those are like the crate style. But it looks like our speaker is on here by nuts and not a Phillips head. So let's go ahead and find the right tool. So this is obviously very, very filthy from other purposes, but this is actually a pretty nice looking speaker. The cone is very sturdy and the tape is also very sturdy. The one knock that I have on it is this nickel coated speaker basket here. I'm not crazy about that. I think it looks cheap. That's actually what I was referring to, the SLM speakers, the crate made speakers. They have that same nickel plated look, and I think they look cheap. So there's that speaker. Here's our new speaker, and I think that we should have some fun with this. So let's go ahead and install the new speaker, making sure our terminals are facing the right direction. Okay, so our positive goes there, and our negative goes there. And I know it looks backwards, but it does say positive on this side, and therefore negative on this side. So let's crank her down and see what she sounds like. Alright, she's all installed. So just take a look at this amplifier. It's nothing too special. It's all just MDF with some nice corner bracing there. Otherwise, nothing too special here. So simple enclosure for a simple solid state amplifier. Well, not simple in that it's a pretty complex modeling amp, but it's small. And there's a look inside of this thing. Alright, nothing left to do but put her back together. Hear how she sounds. Whew, that's tight. Amp first. I'm gonna wind my clutch way down for these. I don't want anything to strip, maybe a 5. Feels okay. Alrighty, we are back together. Alright, here we are with the brand new speaker, the Weber Alnico Blue Pup, installed into the Vox Valvetronics AD30VT. The Valvetronics name has the word valve in it. That's what the British folk call tubes. So if you're wondering what that means, Valvetronics means they're utilizing that 12AX7 preamp tube here. I also should mention the guitar we're running today is my 2007 Ernie Ball Music Man Axis Super Sport. Now this is all rosewood for the most part, except for the body here I believe is basswood, but we have a rosewood neck, rosewood fretboard, and a rosewood top. So real beautiful guitar, one of my favorites, and I figured the 2 humbucker situation is a really common one, so let's start here. Alright, so I switched this amp all the way to the cleanest setting, which is Boutique CL, and it sounds like this. really sweet, really chimey, very nice cleans. Nice. All right, so let's go ahead and toggle through a few of these amp settings here, see if we can't dial up something interesting. We've got the black face, that's the 212, and then the Tweed 410. Tweed 410. Nice. All right, so these next two are actual Vox amps, the AC15 and the AC30. So since this is an Alnico Blue speaker, that's kind of what you'd find in the older style Vox, I'm pretty sure. I've never had one of those amps, but I'm pretty sure that that's the standard spec, are the blue Alnico style speakers. So this is the AC15. That's AC15. Let's bump it up to the AC30. Oh, interesting. Let's bump up the gain. Sounds really good. All right, so as we round the dial here, we're going to get into more gain territory. So let's go ahead and hear what that is. Not bad, pretty growly. That is UK 70s. Here's UK 80s. Looks like my mic is peaking. Hold on one second. Nice. Sounds really good. Tight, yet ballsy. Can't wait to dial it up a little further. Here we go. Next stop is UK Modern. Not too crazy about that one. I think it's a little too muffled. Wah, wah, wah. Let's dial it up a little further. Go to new metal. Nu metal sounds pretty good. Can't quite put my finger on what it's trying to emulate, but not bad. Let's go to US high gain. So we're trying to emulate, I assume, a Mesa Boogie sound here with a single little 10-inch speaker. So here's how she sounds. Respectable high gain sound. And the final setting we have is Boutique OD, Boutique Overdrive. Let's hear what this sounds like. So there you have it, a few different settings on this Vox Valtronics AD30VT amp, and it has the upgraded Weber Alnico Blue Pup 10-inch 30-watt speaker. This is a brand new speaker, so any sounds that you're hearing right now are obviously a little harsher, a little sharper than they will be once the paper in the speaker actually breaks in. So take it with a grain of salt. But I do think it was a really nice upgrade versus the standard Vox speaker, which was basically unbranded. But it was a nice upgrade, and I think that this amp is going to have a whole lot more versatility with this speaker inside. So if you have any experience with this amplifier, this speaker, or if you'd like to hear any of the other settings on this amplifier, please feel free to let me know. I'd love to hear what you have to say. So thanks again for watching, and I hope to see you on the next one.